And here's how to unlock all the classes in MEWGENICS. Some simple tips on how to get them, or any quest lines that's associated with them. Definitely some spoilers for Act 2 and 3, but either way, let's get into it. Starting off with our first class to unlock, it's the Cleric. You can't really avoid this because this is just clearing out the alley for the first time. You'll either have to deal with Radical Rat or the Queen Hippo. Radical Rat, just take care of the bombs and it shouldn't be too much of a problem, unless you're dealing with a bunch of fire. That can make things a little more chaotic, but otherwise shouldn't be too much of a problem. Queen Hippo, you can just run away from her for 4 turns and she'll eventually die. Try not to be in the corner, otherwise she'll punish you pretty severely. The longer the fight goes, the faster she'll be, but she'll also take more damage. Hopefully won't be too much of an issue for you cat hoarders out there. Next, you'll have the Thief unlock. A great class for picking up lots of coins, or hopefully dishing out tons of backstab damage, if you're lucky to get some of those spells. For this one, you're going to have to take down the sewers. Obviously, one of the best bets to bring down to the sewers is having electric damage, but otherwise just play it safe for all the things around you. Boars can be a pretty mean fight, but if you spread out good enough, you should be just fine. Or hopefully just bring a daddy shark with you and he'll just one-shot the boss for you. Next will be Necromancer. This is done by clearing the Boneyard. Easier said than done, however. Dybbuk, the boss of the Boneyard, can be one annoying fight depending on your party makeup. 2 things I'll recommend are either having summons from a hunter or having AoE based attacks, such as this split shot trap hunter. Had several AoE based attacks, so when he possessed my cat it was very easy to put him down. Hopefully he doesn't possess a cat that will actually wipe your team. After unlocking Act 2 by beating the caves and the Boneyard, you'll have access to the desert, which will lead you to the crater or the bunker. Beating the crater will unlock the Druid, which I recommend doing first as the Druid is very strong. The area does have a lot of mind control effects, as well as crappy terrain to navigate, but it's not too bad. The Crater Maker is definitely a different story though. He will shoot 3 projectiles from his sides every time he's hit. Anytime he's hit, he'll change what his attack is, so you'll have to play with a little bit of caution, trying not to end up with the attack that will hit the entire arena. Having some way of CC such as stuns or sleep go a long way in the fight, but more or less just never be on his side and you'll be just fine. Next is the Psychic. This will have to be done going to the crater for a second time, and then heading to the moon. The moon can be one of the most annoying places to go, as enemies will have a lot of CC. I highly recommend bringing a range-based team, as anything that shoots a projectile will have more range because, you know, the lack of gravity. The Man on the Moon boss is actually fairly straightforward. All you have to do is attack the hands once to turn them around, and then attack them again to send them flying back at the face rock thing. This will remove the brace as well as deal massive damage. The only thing to really avoid is walking in front of a hand, as it will grab you, and you'll have to struggle a bit to get out. But with some nice planning, it should go rather smoothly. Next unlock will be the Tinkerer. Instead of heading to the crater after the desert, we're going to be heading to the bunker. This area is rather straightforward. You'll encounter robots, things that are horribly mutated, and a lot of things that like to cut themselves to deal more damage. Having armor piercing and poison go a long way down here, as well as summons do incredibly well for the boss fight. I mean, when do summons ever do poorly? Like, come on, they're ridiculous in this game. With Johnny, it's a big fight of attrition. Your main goal is to stop these cultists from getting close to Johnny, because they're busy wiping him down and that's really what Johnny wants. So stay close to Johnny and just keep him away. Next, we have the Butcher. Done by going through the bunker and going to the core. Definitely you're planning to go this way, is putting on some of your water-based items that you hopefully will be using for the desert, as there's always tons of fire and lava to deal with. With the final boss being the Coven, you'll want to take care of all the candles to prevent the boss from powering up, or straight up kill the boss super quickly. That way you won't have to deal with the phase 2, which is much harder of a fight. Eventually you do get a quest item that you can actually use to one-shot the boss, which is pretty cool. When round 3 hits, if you were not successful to killing the boss, you're going to have to deal with this demonic thing, and it will power up using the candles that are left, gaining multiple abilities, turns, and movement, and having a high potential to eat a bunch of your cats. But it's not all bad, it does have a really cool death end. Now that we've completed Act 2, a cutscene will play out and we'll have access to Act 3, which is the lab. Completing the lab for the first time will unlock one of my favorite classes, the Monk. There's definitely a lot more wacky enemies to deal with down here, such as enemies that spawn more enemies, scientists that will revive themselves once they're down, and even bosses that resemble other classes in the game, including one notorious Jester that people seem to be very afraid of. Which I get it, like he can use metronome, which means he can use theoretically any spell he wants, but the likelihood he's going to use something that's going to be super detrimental, doubtful. Anyways, you'll have other bosses such as Stacy and the Spewer. Firstly, Stacy is kind of interesting, as you are specifically allowed to mutate her before the fight, molding her to however you see fit. I have no idea why you need to do this, or even if you need to do this at all, but I haven't fought her again. But the first time I turned her into an Ice Queen, giving her an extra turn, as well as having 7 Divine Shield to start. It was kind of weird, but fun. Spewer is much more simple. If you're lined up with him, he will counterattack by swallowing your cat and then spitting it out next turn. Will also spawn pills that heal him slightly and change his spit attack. Nothing really too dangerous about him, just, don't line up your cats too much. Or simply just attack him from off angles. And lastly, we have the Jester. Now those spoilers that I mentioned, this one is definitely the biggest one, as it involves multiple quests, starting off with the invasion that starts in Act 2. These are the Kaiju. After beating the core, Pyrophena will emerge, and will come after you similar to how Guillotina does. The other comes after beating the moon, and this is Zaratana. Both are pretty insane fights. As you'd expect, Pyrophena does a lot of fire. In Zaratana, well, lots of rock-based mechanics. And if you're able to survive their onslaught, you'll be awarded with 2 quest items, the Scalding Orb and the Black Shard. You can charge up the Black Shard through multiple quests, making it pretty easy to do. Once at 20 stacks, it will turn into the glowing Black Shard and you'll be able to kill a Coven boss instantly. This will also activate an Obelisk down there, but you won't be able to use the Obelisk at this moment. The Scalding Orb quest item is basically playing hot potato. You'll have to pass an orb back and forth to prevent the cat holding it from burning. You can bypass this pain by bringing water items, making the water feeder one of the best items for this quest, and you'll have to bring this orb all the way to the moon, and you'll have to make sure to get the orb carrier to be eaten by the moon, like so. I was incredibly lucky there, by the way. Doing so will activate the moon's obelisk. Now both are primed and ready. This is where the third invasion event's gonna happen. After a few runs, you should come back home and see this cutscene. Both Zaratana and Pyrophena will be shown licking their wounds. And well, I hope you can kind of see where this is going. Yep, you guessed it. They really hate each other. So unfortunately, you're going to have to get in between them. And by that, I mean you're going to have to choose who wins. This is probably going to be one of the craziest fights you've ever experienced. You'll have to deal with both of their mechanics while they are trying to take each other out, while dealing with the aftermath of all their attacks. With both quests done, you should decide which one you want to kill. I recommend killing Pyrophena, mostly because I have a hatred for her. There is separate achievements for both, which you can do on a later date. Whoever wins will give you their collar, and you'll get to take them on a long, fun journey. Zaratana goes to the core, or Pyrophena goes to the moon. Once you interact with the obelisk, you'll be able to go to a new third area, the Rift. The main threat in the Rift is these glitchy tiles. Walking over them will randomize all your cat's abilities for a few turns, so it can completely ruin your perfect cats that you have molded in your adventure. Like the Rift says, it's getting pretty chaotic down here. The boss also tends to fluctuate between different bosses you previously faced, so hopefully you'll have the gist of it by now. If you're familiar with the Throbbing King, you can loot the final boss, at the risk of potentially losing one of your cats, but it does have some pretty damn good rewards. So it might be worth the risk losing that cat who used Forbidden Fart 3 times in that run. So after all that quest is done and beating the Rift, you will get the Jester. And that is it. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one.